big story that we've been tracking since last evening is that the cabinet has approved the merger of the state-run banks, Vijaya Bank and Dena, with Bank of Baroda. The banks released their respective share swap ratios last evening. Lata joins in to fill us in with how things stand. Lata, over to you.
Well, now the markets more or less discovered what the ratio meant. 110 shares of Bank of Baroda for 1,000 shares of Dena is roughly BoB is to Dena 1:9 shares. You give 9 shares of Dena, 9.1 shares of Dena, you will get 1 share of BoB. And Vijaya 402 BoB shares for 1,000 Vijaya would mean you get 1 BoB share for 2.5 Vijaya shares. So that's just making the arithmetic more comprehensible. If you looked at it from yesterday's price point of view, for Vijaya it would come to a discount of about 6% vis-a-vis the price of BoB. I mean, if you put it in 1:2.5 ratio. And for Dena, it would have been a discount of about 26% compared to the BoB closing price. And that's exactly what has happened today. You've seen Dena falling by almost 20%, 18% as we speak, and we've seen Vijaya falling by about 6%. So it's just arithmetically adjusted itself to the swap ratio. Now what happens to Bank of Baroda itself? Bank of Baroda, people calculate, will have to issue about 30% more shares. So assuming that the entity is Bank of Baroda, 30% more of equity will happen. But that doesn't mean that that dilutes things, because they're also getting assets from Dena and Vijaya. And therefore, the book value, maybe because of the higher NPA of Dena, could, the adjusted book value could go down a bit next by about 4%. Gross NPLs, not much of a difference. It will stand at 11% for the merged entity, which is what is current GNPA of Bank of Baroda. The net NPA may rise a bit to 5.3. The current net NPA of BoB is 4.9%. The capital, the common equity, the best form of capital, shareholder capital, will rise to 9.1%, which again is a very good number. Now, post-merger, like I told you, there'll be more of BoB shares issued, but the float, the combined float, will actually fall by 2% because much of it is held by the government. And the merger, because it makes BoB a bigger bank, could get it included in a lot of indices. That is the expectation. We don't know whether it's MSCI Asia or whether it's, one of the domestic indices, say the Sensex itself or the Nifty itself, because it becomes a big bank. If that happens, then, BoB could trade at a premium. So you should expect BoB to be somewhat well bid, at least see people picking it up in dips.
Lata, thanks very much. I think BoB was part of one of the indices. I'm not sure
it was part of Nifty
and then
moved out recently. I mean, PNB, BoB, everyone was, and now it's become such a bloody private bank heavy index.
Correct, absolutely. Lata, thanks very much for that. So it's BoB, Vijaya and Dena, the merger done. Dena Bank, of course, the big loser. Vijaya Bank, following the losses. Bank of Baroda relief, 1.25% higher. We are going to shift back to the SR Steel flashes, which were up on your screen. The NCLAT directing NCLT Allahabad to pass an early order. I mean, expedite the matter. Ashmit is joining in with more on this. Ashmit, what are you picking up?
Well, the COC had moved the NCLAT. Their primary grievance essentially was that there have been frequent adjournments which are leading to inordinate delays. Now, the cause of concern was that the argument that had been cited by the council is that just at the very last hearing, which was scheduled for December 22nd, the matter had been deferred. The matter had been adjourned to January 27th. This, the council argued, was the latest amongst many such adjournments that had taken place. Keep in mind that this matter, the resolution plan for approval, had been placed before NCLT Ahmedabad in the month of October. And that was the line of reasoning that, in fact, the council had employed, arguing that despite the matter having been placed in the month of October, there have been frequent adjournments, there have been inordinate delays, and that even as of January 2019, there is no resolution, there is no answer. Now, in response to all of this, the NCLAT made some sharp observations. The NCLAT observed that there appear to have been adjournments, but there appears to be no clarity as to why these adjournments took place, why there were frequent deferrals of matter, and that on that particular issue, without passing any observations or judgment, what the NCLAT has done is that it has passed orders saying that it expects the matter to be heard in an expeditious way, that if the matter is not heard and then if the final orders are not passed by what the NCLAT calls is an early date, they haven't prescribed a date, They were about to prescribe the date of January 22nd, so that gives us some perspective as to the date and the time frame that the NCLAT is looking at. But that was replaced then by the term early date. So if the orders are not passed by an early date, the COC can move the NCLAT once again. So clearly, as of right now, the NCLAT is directing the NCLT and the bank to step on the gas and to ensure that this matter is heard in an expeditious fashion. Back to you.
Ashwin, thank you very much for that update, and appreciate you joining in with those quick sort of background information to fill us up on what's really happening. So lenders seeking for an early approval. Remember, the bidder was chosen, 2 months back, and lenders have been waiting for an approval to come through from the NCLT. We slip into a quick break. The first on the show here, markets right there, not really big in terms of movement today, down about 35, 40 odd points. We come back and focus on what's happening in the commodity space. Manisha Gupta comes in and we take stock of commodities on the other side.